Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to our another session for Azure Developer Community. And today we have a very great speaker who is a, community contributor as well. And he has been a speaker for our past conferences and meetups as well. So he's a Microsoft trainer, and we are very glad to have him as a speaker for today's session. So before we bring him on stage, I would like to highlight on a few of the things uh, which is happening in the community. So currently in Azure Developer Community, we are going to touch 10,000 community members soon. So that is going to be really awesome because, as you all know, we started this community or the initiative in the month of January this year, and in a very short span of time, we have reached this milestone, and soon we'll be touching 10,000 community members. So thank you all for your support, for trusting in the knowledge that we share, and being part of the community and the journey with us. And another thing that I want to uh, bring it to you. So we have started a new um, initiative, like, which is something very new, interesting, and full of fun. It's called Cloud Quizzing Challenge, and basically, Cloud Quizzing Challenge is a fun platform where you can come and participate in weekly quizzes, where you can attempt questions on Azure and related services. I believe you are able to see my screen. So this is the official website for Quizzing Challenge, and the link is cc.confo.com. And we are starting with our first live quiz tomorrow, which is tomorrow 5 p.m. IST. And you can see all our upcoming quizzes scheduled for this Cloud Quizzing Challenge under this one platform. You can see the first quiz is happening tomorrow, which is 8th of October at 5 p.m. So if you haven't registered for the quizzing challenge, please go and participate, because the weekly winners can win amazing cash prizes. And if you top the ultimate tournament leaderboard, you can get a chance to win an Microsoft Xbox. So isn't that very cool? So yes, go visit the website and check out for the details and register so that we can host you tomorrow. So that is what I wanted to show it to all of you about this amazing initiative. So without wasting any more time, I will bring Ashish on the stage. Hey Ashish,
Hi everyone. Hello. Hi Rohit.
how are you doing, Ashish?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So, like, thank you, Ashish, for joining us today and
Glad.
accepting our invitation to join this committee session. So,
gl-
we all know that you have been an amazing community contributor, and you have already been a speaker for our past events as well. So, what do you have on your plate today for us?
Yeah. So it's first of all, it's always be great to be part of this community, and that Confirm and Microsoft is kind of helping the people to learn. And today we are going to explore, as the title says for the today's session, that how your data engineering team can benefit with the some of the features and some of the things that normally a DevOps team uses in terms of version control, in terms of pipelines, and how they can help the data engineering team in their day-to-day work. So we will try to see the practical side of it, but before that we will try to see some some overview of it and how it is going to be helpful for these data engineers as well. So this is the overall, and let's see how much we are going to learn together with the community.
Definitely. So, also to inform all our audience today, like, you can drop your queries or your questions in the comment box. So Ashish is going to answer to your questions after he finishes his demo. So, like, as you all know, like Ashish loves to give demo in his sessions. So we are going to have a wonderful demo today, and after that, he's going to take up the questions and answer to them. So, all right. So Ashish, should I share a screen?
Yes, please.
All right. Yes, it's like there.
Okay, so hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining the today's session. And as we have discussed, we are going to explore some of the DevOps practices that can be used in your data engineering team. And I am really thankful to the Azure developer community to bring this opportunity to to discuss and learn together with the community. And as Rohit said, I am also part of, or I have also, we are also one of the community which is aligned with Azure developer community. Our community is Azure Talk and Azure DevOps Pro. That is a Telegram based community that you can see on the screen. uh, Without taking much time, I'll just, as you have already kind of got to know about me, so I am, one of the co-founder for Azure EG, which is another community that I just shown you. That is a Telegram based community. We have like more than 10,000 members, and we discuss things over there in real time. We solve problems where, in a IM way, in an instant messaging way. You can reach me out on my Twitter account, and I'm a DevOps architect and Microsoft certified trainer. So this is a bit information about me, but let's go ahead and explore what we are going to talk about today. So, yeah, so today we are going to talk about DevOps for data engineers. We are just going to start this discussion, and hopefully, we will be able to get some meaningful information out of it. That's our intention today. So, if you are a data engineer, or if you're a DevOps practitioner, then something you can take out from this particular session. That's my objective for today. And of course, this is just a starting point. Of course, we can do much more things than what we are going to discuss today, but this is one of the starting point that I will be talking about. So data engineers mostly work on data pipelines. They do the ETL things. They do the they do construct the pipeline to get some data, do some transformation, publish it to somewhere, and this is the actual most of the code revolves around that logic. So how do you adopt version control system into that, and why do you do that? you know because you would like to have a code review process. So if you can have a code review process for data engineer as well, isn't that going to help your team? Will it be beneficial for your team members to have a checkpoint before it goes into the system in terms of data pipeline? And then we will also see how you can, most probably when you design your data pipeline, you don't really do the data pipeline. We don't really execute the data pipeline straight into production. You want to first execute or implement in a dev or QA environment, and then you want to proceed further. So we will try to see how you can do it from one stage to another. We will just take an example of one stage to another stage, and then you can actually use the same pattern to further divide or further progress into further stages. How many stages you have in your organization, that is completely up to your organization, up to your team, up to your the way your team works. But we will just have a look how exactly you can do that, and then we will see how you can do the continuous deployment. uh, you know how can I deploy my pipeline in a continuous way as soon as code is reviewed, as soon as it is it is merged. How can I deploy the pipeline in a dev environment and then going further into the another environment? How exactly you can plan these things in one of the most famous tool, that is Azure Data Factory, which is one of the service from Azure, mostly used by data engineers to create pipelines. So what are the things there in Azure Data Factory which can help you to kind of do such things in a particular way? Now, before we get into that, and of course, we are going to discuss hands-on. We will just have this next slide, and there are not many slides, I mean 2 3 slides only. So this is another slide which will talk about, when you do the data engineering, what exactly happens in Azure, if you're talking about Azure. So when a data engineer works, uh, there will be an infrastructure team who create the infrastructure for them, and then they, on top of it, they mostly develop their code, pipeline code and all those things, which can help them to to do the data engineering aspect of it, ETL and all those things. So it is pretty much similar, uh, what you call infrastructure deployment pattern that you see with application and infrastructure team. The same thing happens here. One of the infrastructure team is there who is responsible for deployment of the resources in Azure. When they do this, of course, using the portal is one of the easiest and first thing they do when they do deployment using portal. But that's not the only thing that do, that's not the scalable thing that they do. They they can use code, they can use ARM template, they can use Terraform, they can use other infrastructure as a code tool, PowerShell, or other infrastructure as code tool. And when they do that, they do it in Git so that they can do the version control and that all happening with the infrastructure team. There is no data engineer yet. All these things they are doing, and if they are able to put it in a infrastructure, in a version control, they can have a Azure pipeline and they can deploy it continuously. That's the kind of automation, or that's the kind of scalable infrastructure deployment infrastructure team do in a very mature DevOps team. How can we do similar things with data engineers? What data engineers do? Data engineers mostly work with pipeline which are developed for services like Data Factory. So here you can see this this service is Data Factory. A data engineer normally work in a pipeline. The pipeline is nothing but a sequence of code or a sequence of tasks that they do so that they can interact with various data services, and they can orchestrate the data movement things there. So how we can we put a Git there? Just like infrastructure team is deploying the infrastructure using code, can we use Git for a pipeline that is in our Data Factory? And the good news is, yes, Data Factory does have a feature which allows you to enable Git for it. And as soon as you enable Git, you can use the similar kind of approach where you can configure Azure pipeline, which will continuously deploy your pipeline to the Data Factory. And that way, you become a part of your DevOps team. Your data engineering team also works in a very DevOps way, and they can work together in a very scalable, repetitive way, and they can make use of many things that any DevOps team can do that. Repeatable infrastructure, repeatable pipeline, version control of pipeline, code review of your pipeline. These things you can do using this particular approach. Now, how do you do that? What exactly we are going to do, I mean, what exactly you do in Data Factory? Of course, we are going to have this complete working example in actual Data Factory. But before that, we'll just have a look on this particular, we will just expand this particular flow little bit more from the DevOps point of view. What you can do is, you have a pipeline, and as I said, and we are going to explore that, the pipeline supports Git version control. So you have a Git, you have configured Git version control with your Data Factory. There is a main branch, we call it branch. If you are new to version control, we have a couple of sessions in past from data, Azure developer community, as well as our community, that is Azure Easy. We also have done a couple of sessions where we have discussed about version control, what exactly the version control is. So if you're coming from a very fresh background of regarding the version control. You can refer those, those sessions. But version control is nothing but a repository where you can keep your code. So and in version control you can have branches. Based on that you can segregate your code, what exactly the main thing is. So main represent the code that has been deployed. What you can do is you can take out a branch. Those people who are coming from DevOps background, they will be able to relate with this. You can take out a branch, you call it feature one. Feature one represents a change that you want to implement. So suppose you have a pipeline, you want to rename the pipeline, you want to add some data sources, you want to add some steps in your pipeline. Whatever changes you want to do, there will be some kind of, you can name it like a feature for your pipeline. You create a change. You, after making those changes, you create a pull request. So in version control, you create a pull request whenever your work is ready to be merged. We call it this particular event, we call it merge. So you are ready for merge. As soon as you are ready for merge, you create a pull request, someone will approve it, and that's what we call code review. So you can do the code review very much into data pipeline, just like you do for other infrastructure. If you are doing infrastructure as code like ARM template, Terraform. Similarly, if you are doing it application code, then application .NET, Java, Python, you must be doing this pull request for code review process. Similar kind of uh, process you can implement with your data engineering team as well. So one data engineer in your team working on some pipeline, he implemented something. Before he publish into the pipeline, or before it makes it available even into dev environment, there will be someone within the team, maybe a peer review process, not exactly the some kind of procedural approval or something. It's just a kind of a review. It's a kind of a peer review which helps each other to improve their work. That thing you can improve, and that way, once that is approved, uh, pipeline allows you to publish into dev. The moment you publish into dev, and we are going to see this in action, we will have the demo, we are going to see all these things in action, and just after completing this slide. The moment you publish it to dev, what happens? Data Factory takes care of the a little bit of automation behind the scene. What it does, it creates another branch which you cannot do anything about. It will automatically create a branch. They call it ADF publish, and we will see that how does it happen. Can you rename it? Yes, you can rename it. While configuring the Data Factory and all, we'll see that. And then as soon as it automatically makes that change, the purple line that you have made change available into this branch. And then you can further configure your release pipeline, and you can say that, what, as soon as there is something new in ADF publish, and that ADF publish will only have something new the moment someone will have approved request and they are ready to publish. The moment they will publish, the ADF publish branch will also have the new thing, that is new purple thing. And then your release pipeline will have a trigger event which will trigger the release pipeline and say that, what, we have something new in this branch. Why can't you deploy it into another environment, into another data factory? And here we are taking one example, just deploy to QA. You can further expand this process, put another release pipeline or maybe another trigger that can deploy to prod, that can deploy to pre-prod. I mean, whatever number of environment you have, you can configure it. And that's the thing, the flow that you can see on the screen. That's exactly we are going to see in the demo. Let's, before we okay, this is something we will see later. Let me just close this one. Okay, so now demo time. uh, as I said, let me open this. So we have this resource group where infrastructure team has already created a data factory for us. One data factory, which is a dev environment, ADF 192, it's just a random number I created during the demo, during the prep. And there is another data factory which I'm calling as a QA environment. So we are just going from dev to QA. You can further go from QA to prod. So that kind of further uh, progress or deployment you can do definitely. But we will just stop there on the QA, and we will try to see the pattern how you can do that. Now let's go to this ADF 192, which is our dev environment. If we relate with this slide, I'll just go back to go back and forth to relate with the what we are doing. So to relate with this is our dev and this is our QA. So there are two data factory we have. One data factory 192, another data factory which has a QA in its name. That's very simple. So we have these two data factory. We also have used one storage account and one SQL database, which is just to demonstrate some pipeline step, nothing more. It's not that DevOps needs it, just to demonstrate some changes into the pipeline. Now before we will just quickly go into this data factory studio from where you make changes into your pipeline. We are not going to make changes. Before that, we will explore what are the things you have in terms of having the DevOps there. So this is a typical pipeline you have. This is very simple pipeline you have. uh, some kind of steps are there, very simple, nothing related to a very realistic environment, but it's just demonstrate this is the kind of pipeline you might be having, a complex one maybe. Now, if you click here, you will have an option where you can see this setup code repository. What it says that whatever pipeline changes you are going to do you want to version it? Do you want to keep this on a repository? Yes. So this is the very first step you can do. You have the version, you have the data factory created by infrastructure team. They might have used Portal, they might have used ARM template, they might have used Terraform. Nothing to worry about from the data engineer point of view. What do data engineer deals with? They deal with this particular interface most of the time, creating pipeline, making changes into the pipeline, making changes into the data sources, making changes into the target sources, linked services, and all those things. So we want to version this particular aspect, and this is how you can version it using repository. When you select this, there will be two options you have GitHub, you have Azure DevOps Git. We are going to use Azure DevOps Git, but if you want to use GitHub, the kind of version control aspect of it will be pretty much same. So let's go ahead and select Git. This is nothing, this is my directory, and the moment I will click on continue, it will ask me which repository I'm talking about. Before that, I need to select my organization. If you are new to Azure DevOps, organization is the highest level in the Azure DevOps hierarchy. So again, we have done a couple of sessions. Again, we will, Azure Developer Community, as well as if you go to our community, there are also a lot of sessions are there, which is talking about basics of Azure DevOps organization or other things. Now here I have my organization, and in this organization I have a project that is, I will say, ADF DevOps. This is the project, and there I will have repositories. So I have couple of repositories. I will, before I go there, I will come back here. So we have couple of repository. This is one of the empty repository, and there are couple of repository that I was creating during prep. So I will just go ahead and create a new repository that I'm going to select there. So I'll say AZ, or maybe ADF demo DevOps. Just kind of relate with this. So I'm saying, this, and I don't want to add a README file, just a blank repository, nothing there. And this is a very blank repository, I mean simple repository that you have. You need to initialize it. You can initialize it. We are not going to initialize it. We will make it very from the scratch. So we have this repository. I'm going to scan this again. So I'll just go ahead and maybe I will just refresh this organization just to make sure that the repository start appearing again. So I will say ADF. name. Yeah, project name is already selected. Let me go ahead. And now it will refresh the repository list, and now it is showing me the new repository that I have created. So I'll go ahead and select the repository. Now here is the little bit of information that might be helpful. So it is asking me, what is your collaboration branch? So collaboration branch is the branch where this publish happens. So when a user takes out a feature branch, and when he wants to create a pull request, that branch is called collaboration branch. In our example, it is called as main. So I'm going to call it as main. Right now there is no branch, right? You remember that there is nothing here. So that's why it is asking me to create. If at all it would have been an existing repository, it would have given the branch names which are existing there. So I'm going to select that create new option. I'm going to name it like main. You can name it whatever you want to name, master, you know, I mean, whatever you want to name. It is up to you. Now, the moment I will create this branch, then it asks me the publish branch. Now, what is this publish branch? The moment you put it into the collaboration branch, the changes that you made, and the moment you publish to that particular main branch, I mean, I will show you how to publish and what I exactly I'm talking about. The moment you publish, there is an automated thing which will happening behind the scene, and that is completely inbuilt into the Azure Data Factory, which will publish into a publish branch. I mean, publish branch is something that you cannot touch. It is automatically happening into this branch, and based on this branch changes, you are going to configure your release pipeline. So what it is saying that the moment you make changes into your dev environment, can you give me the branch name where I should keep those changes separately, so that you can plan a release based on that particular branch? And that is what we call publish branch. We are going to name it like ADF publish. We don't want to change anything over here. You want to change it, you can change it. You want to make it like publish, you want to make it like, production, you want to, I mean, whatever naming convention you may want, you can put it. Root folder, I want to put everything in root folder. I don't have any folder structure defined, so I can put there. Import existing deposit resources. So whatever existing things are there in my pipeline, the pipeline has some few things like pipeline data sources and all. Do I want to import? Yes, I want to import, because so that I will have all the things which are there already, and whatever changes I'm going to do going forward, those things will be captured in version control. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this apply. And the moment I will apply, what it does is Data Factory will do its work of configuring this version control into the Data Factory, so that changes done in this pipeline can be captured in the version control as a change. And we will see that how does it happen. Just so we have this branch, and as you can see, we have this main branch where all the work is there. Now, as you know, we are not going to make changes into the main branch. We will create a feature branch, and that's what it is asking. You want to create a new branch, or you want to keep working in existing? I don't want to work in existing branch, that is main, because main is my main branch. I mean, as the name suggests, it's a master branch. I don't want to do anything in master branch. I want to create a new branch where I will do my changes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a feature demo. I will just name it like, just to make sure it is meaningful. Not meaningful exactly, but yeah. Uh, so you can see here we have this feature demo branch. We have this main branch. And if you see, we are in feature demo branch. The pipeline is exactly same. We have everything there, right? We have these pipelines, we have these things. The configuration is same. Everything remains same. The only thing is that whatever I'm making changes, I won't be able to publish it, because publish is disabled. Why? The publish will be only enabled as soon as my changes are merged into the main branch. Then only I will be able to publish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some changes, some artificial changes, I would say. So I'll just rename this pipeline just to show some changes are there. So I'm saying copy something and demo. Simply rename it. The moment I save it, right? So some changes are done. Of course, this doesn't make sense from the logic point of view because it's just renaming of the file, but you know get the work done, right? I mean, we will be able to see some changes are happening. So what I'm doing is I have the option to create a pull request. And the moment I will click on create pull request, it will automatically opens the Azure DevOps portal where it will say your changes are going into the main branch. And the moment you send to main branch, what are the changes you are sending? These are the changes you are sending. And this is the code review process we are talking about. So this is, this makes it possible for you to have an overview what changes are going, what changes are being done in your pipeline by a data engineer, and they are going to publish it because they won't be able to publish it in their branch. They can only publish in the main branch, and until unless they make changes in the main branch, they can't publish. So they will have to have their branch, they will have to make changes those branches, and they will have to create this pull request. The moment they will create a pull request, all right, these changes will be available in the main branch. So if you see right now, copy GJV demo is what we can see. The moment I will change to main branch, the main branch, it still says prep. So main branch still have the same, the pipeline which has been deployed or which has been there in the production because it was already there. Had it been a blank one, then it would have been blank one, but it was existing one. So this is what it is. But my developer, the data engineer, has done some changes in his branch. He want to make it available into the main branch. Then he has to create a pull request, and this is how he can create a pull request. The moment he will create a pull request, what happens is he can also explicitly assign reviewers, but it has to be reviewed by someone. Now here we have a very simple setup for this project, but in Azure DevOps you can actually add these reviewers by policy. So you can automatically add certain people from a team, certain people from a group who can be allowed to review only. Not everyone can review, not everyone can approve. So you can have that level of complexity in your approval process. But right now our main agenda is to show the flow, how it works in the pipeline. Now the moment you are here, you can see that these are the changes which are going. And do you want to approve it? I will say I'm going to approve it. And since we don't have any policy as such, I am able to approve it. But you can restrict this to the person who is creating the pull request cannot approve and cannot complete unless it is approved. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, you know what, Ashish has done some changes, his work is completed, we want to send it to main so that it can be published, because published is still having the same old pipeline name. Now I want to make that pipeline name change to the one that Ashish has done. So this is something a team member can do. This is something a responsible person can have a look. What we suggest from the DevOps practices point of view, have some team member working together, reviewing each other code, and do not have a blame culture for each other. Make sure this does not become a blame culture among them that, oh, this is what you're sending, this is wrong, this is right. No, this is not should be encouraged. The real objective of this particular aspect is that people are aware of the changes of being done by other people, I mean other people in the team. That is one objective, that people, the team members are connected with each other. The second aspect is that it encourages learning among team members. It is not that someone will be reviewing the code in a way that they're supposed to assume themselves as an expert, and that's why they have been assigned as a reviewer. It's not like that. Reviewer can be any person, can be junior resource as well. The real objective is learn from each other, learn from each other changes, learn from each other changes being done in the production. Now talking about complete, I have completed. Now the changes are into the main branch. And now if I go to my data factory, which is ADF 192, and if I go to my main branch, you see this feature branch has its demo. And if I go to my main branch is also demo. Earlier it was prep, now it is demo. So you can see that the changes are traveling from one branch to another. So it is here now. Now the moment I will publish to dev, you have this option now. You can see this is available now. The moment I will click on publish, what will happen is, behind the scene, Azure DevOps, I mean not Azure DevOps, Azure Data Factory will create a branch named ADF publish and send those changes to this ADF publish. Now I mean right now, before making that publish, let's see how many let me go there and let's see what are the branches we have. We have only one branch. We don't have ADF publish. The moment I will publish it, it will create that branch for the first time, and then it will retain it. So I mean this branch that you see, you don't have to create. Main you created first time. Feature you keep on creating as and when you are implementing a feature. And then the moment you publish it, and then moment you publish it in the data factory, it will create for the first time, and then onwards it will retain it, and it will always use for this automated sending it to the ADF. And the moment it will create this ADF publish, you can create a release pipeline based on this publish. So let's go ahead and create this first, and then we will come to this release pipeline aspect. So what I will do is I'll go ahead and publish. And the moment I'm publishing it, it is making that changes into the pipeline. Of course, it is deploying that pipeline into the Azure Data Factory. And the moment I will publish it, what will happen, let's wait for this change to complete. The moment this change will complete, and if I will refresh this Azure data, Azure DevOps, and if I go here, you can see this, we have this ADF publish. So we have this ADF publish automatically created, and this is the branch which has the production code which can travel to another environment, what we are talking about here. So it can travel using a pipeline to another environment. For us, that another environment will be this data factory, which is, if I open this data factory, which is another data factory, which is a QA environment, which can be production environment, which can be pre-prod or staging, whatever you can call it. If I go here and if I look at the pipeline name is still QA. However, in my dev, the pipeline name has been changed to demo. So I want to make that change travel into the another environment, that is my QA environment. So how do you make that change happen? We create a release pipeline. And the way we create a release pipeline is simply go to pipeline, not pipeline, sorry, release. Go to release. During prep, I was creating a release pipeline, so I will create a new one. And it's a very simple one. We'll go with the empty job, and we'll say that maybe QA, QA demo, maybe something like that. So it's just a name, and it asks for the artifact. What artifact is, you know, what exactly you want me to publish? This ADF ADF publish has the code that I want to move further. So this is my artifact. So I'm going to select artifact. And in Azure DevOps, there are multiple types of artifact that you can use. You can use a Azure repo, you can use a GitHub repo, you can use a Docker container, you can use a Azure container registry, or you can use a Azure artifact. Here for us, it is a simple Azure repo which contains our artifact, which we want to deploy. And where it is in ADF DevOps. And which repository we have? This is the repository that we just created, and which branch we want to travel, send. This is the branch ADF publish, ADF underscore publish. So we'll just go ahead and select ADF publish, and rest of the things we can keep it as default. You want to further customize, you can do that as per your requirement. But for our demo, this is pretty much which can help us to do the rest of the work. So all we are going to do is we are saying to the release that you take this work from here, from this branch, and move further into the stage. Now what you need to do in the stage, we will talk about it, but before that let's have a look on this particular flash icon. This is for continuous deployment. What it means is that as soon as there is some change in this ADF branch, ADF publish branch, it will automatically send it to the next step, that is stage, if you enable this. That is what we call continuous deployment. So you can have a process where as soon as someone is publishing to dev, it automatically trigger the pipeline to publish it to QA, and so on and so forth. So this is what we are going to do. We will select this enabled so that continuous deployment is also enabled. And here in the task, very simple task, we are going to use Azure Resource Manager template deployment. And let's have a look on this. What we are going to do is we are going to deploy our Azure Resource Manager template in a resource group using the resource manager connection. Now let me just confirm this. This is subscription 2. I have a couple of subscriptions. I will select the subscription 2, and we have the subscription, and I want to create an update resource group. So resource group, this is the resource group that we have. This, this is the AG data brick RG. So I'm going to select that resource group, right? And the location is, let me just confirm that, East US most probably. It is West US. Uh, Yeah, West US. So, and where is the template? So template is coming from the artifact itself. If you remember, we selected this artifact, right? So we are saying that the tab, what we want to deploy is coming from the artifact, and that's what it means, linked artifact. And where is this artifact is, if we select this, it will automatically go to that repository which is coming into that branch, and it will show the complete code to you. And here what you need to select for pipeline, specifically for data factory pipeline, this is a little bit different than the normal ARM template deployment. You need to select this factory and click OK. What it contains, let's have a look before we proceed further. Let me just quickly open this new tab. And if I go into this ADF publish branch, you see main has something else, right? If you go to main, you don't see the things that you require to deploy. It's not there. But if I go to AD publish, you see that the folder structure is different. You go to the folder structure, and then just give me a moment. You go to this full factory, and that's what it is. It's a typical ARM template, but it has a different schema, and the schema suggests that it is nothing but the things that we are doing in pipeline, exactly the same thing mentioned here. Whatever we are doing in the pipeline, it is mentioned in this. And when we look into the parameter, it parameterized the things that we can follow the parameter. So for example, factory name. So for our dev, factory name was ADF 192, but for our next next release, I mean next stage, the value, the factory name will be different. What will be the factory name? The factory name is this, ADF 192 slash QA slash environment. So we need to deploy the same template, the same thing, but with a different parameter. And how do you do that? If you come here, you will see that this is the factory, I mean this is the actual template. Where is the parameter? I'm saying that template is there, and the parameter file is here. But I want to override certain parameter which is being defined here. So here you can see that I have defined the factory name. There is a storage linked service connection string. There is a database connection string. I will keep it as it is for this particular demo. But what it suggests that in real time environment, you may have a different connection string for your storage and for your SQL for your different environment. Right now we are doing things in development. You may not want to send the same connection string into your production or into your QA. So that kind of overriding can do. Here what we will override, we will override this factory name. So I'll simply say that, and the name of the factory where we want to deploy this release. So it is already coming from, let me copy this, and so it is already coming from that the factory name which is mentioned here, ADF 192. What we are doing is we are saying no. This next release that we will do in this stage will be happening on the another data factory, which is this. So now we will go ahead and select that, and rest of the things are, default is fine for us. We'll just save it, and let me just rename it. So just a name change. Now things are done. What we have configured so far is, what we are saying is that, whenever something changes on this branch in this repository, you go ahead and release this stage. And we have just defined one stage. You can further either clone the same stage and change this parameter to something else to make it very simple in terms of prod and all. You can further add some approvals, pre-production deployment approval. As you can see, you can add some policy, you can add some gates, and all those things are there. But we will not do this further deployment because we only have this QA apart from dev. So what we are going to do to demonstrate that, of course, what we can do here is that we can create a release, and what it will do, let's have a test. It is not an automated release what we are doing right now. We are just creating a manual release, and what it should do is that we have this data factory which has this QA name in the pipeline, and this is QA environment, and we have this dev environment which has demo. So we are sending this name to this particular pipeline by creating this release. So let me just go ahead and create this, and let's see if that succeeds. So if it runs properly, then means that we have been able to configure it properly. Now we will just wait for some time. It will go ahead and pick some agent from Azure, public hosted agent. And yep, so it has got a agent. Uh, oh, not yet. It has got the agent, but still waiting to configure the job. Yep, so it has got the agent, it has configured the job, and as you can see, it is getting the things done. It is deploying the resource group, and if everything will go correct, then our pipeline name should be changing automatically, by, of course, um, because we have created a release, that's why it is doing. But in your production environment, this whole flow will work seamlessly if you do the proper processing. Let's see, I mean, if I have not done any mistake. And this particular demo is a very, starting point. You can further configure your DevOps, Azure DevOps, to add some review policy. Again, you can override few more parameters in your pipeline so that your storage account, your SQL server that being used in QA or dev environment are not being used in another environment. So okay, it succeeded. Let's go ahead and go to the QA, and let's refresh this page. And if we refresh this, what should happen is the QA word should be gone and it should be replaced with something else. And what something else is demo. So this is a kind of a, what we have done is we have implemented change here. We have made, we have kind of configured it in a way that it will, it will be properly, reviewed, properly proceed for other. Now we will just do a simple thing to demonstrate one aspect, that is continuous deployment. We said that this particular thing will automatically publish into your QA, right? This time we did it manually. Let's do this automatically. So what we are going to do is we will go back to our, let me this QA, that we will go to our dev environment. We create a new branch. I will call it as feature 2 and automated, or maybe CD. Make it simple. Feature 2 CD. We are doing continuous deployment. The moment I will create it, again, I will make a very basic change. I'm not a data engineer to say, so I'll just make a very simple change here. I will say I'm making a continuous deployment. And you want to make some more changes, you can definitely do those changes as well. So just hypothetical changes only, nothing big. And the moment you click on save, you have the option to create a pull request as I did last time. So I'm creating a pull request feature to CD into main, and then I'm creating it. And then again, I will approve it. I will complete this. And wow, now I will go to the dev environment again. I will refresh it. Again, I will, oops, use existing main. I'll go to main, click on save, because it has deleted the branch, that's why it was giving error. Now if I am in main branch, I'll go to the pipeline, and you'll see that okay, it is still merging. It looks like pull request has merged. Let's see, it has merged. This give, okay, and main branch, let's refresh again. So you can see, yeah, right, it is there. I just missed that word. So if I go here, and you see the CD is there, and again if I go to this, I think I did not make changes into this one. I only made change into this product category where I made CD. It's just, and that's why, or we can confirm that from the pull request as well. So if I go to the pull request, what changes I have done in the last one. So if I go to the completed, this is the one I did, right? So if I go here, I can trace it back that this is the change I did. And this is exactly it is showing in the main branch. Now I want to publish it. This is what we are doing now. Again, publish it to dev so that it can be available. The moment I will publish it, the next step should be automated. It should automatically go to ADF publish. It should automatically create a release. It should automatically create a deployment. This is what the next step should be. The moment I will click on OK, let's wait for this to complete. And if I go back here, and if I go to the releases, you'll see that uh, this one. Oops, what happened? Yep, it's creating that. So it has created a new release automatically. Why it has failed the last one? Looks like I did something wrong. Something I need to check this one. No problem. See that? And what it should do is it should where is this dev, it should change this product category to product category cd. That's what should happen. Yeah, so deployment has completed. Now if I go to here and if I again refresh this, as you can see, this is qa, right? We have not done any manual deployment this time. And the moment you will refresh this, and if I go to come pipeline, and if I go to product category, you see this cd changes reflecting here. So this is the kind of a flow that we have demonstrated end to end, implementing DevOps with Data Factory to manage your data pipelines day to day. You can review it. You can you can do the automated deployment to another stage. You can, of course, you can further customize it to do little bit more comprehensive review. You can further customize to make it more modular deployment, where you can change the connection string, where you can change the SQL Server connection string, where you can change the storage account connection string, or any other links services that you are using in your pipeline. And you can further expand this deployment to other environment. We have just deployed from dev to qa, but you can proceed further. So this is the thing that we have demonstrated. I think this is what we have planned, and we are already crossing the time. Now I will be open for the questions. And before that, let me share the links. uh, so our Telegram group link is listed on the screen. t.me/Azure Talk, t.me/Azure DevOps Pro. That's our Telegram link. We will be posting it in our this slide will be available for your use once we will publish this session on YouTube. Uh, and yeah, I mean these links will be available to you later as well. And right, we are open for question.
Yes, Ashish, it would be great if you can share the shareable link of this
Yep.
PPT. We can share it with our
Yes, I will
audience.
publish it and then I will share it.
Sure. So,
Yep.
guys, if you have any questions for Ashish, please uh, drop them as a comment.
Yep. We have 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Okay. This. Yep. Thank you so much. If you like the demo, tried tried myself to make it as simple as it can be. But yes, you can take it further and customize it. I know that Azure DevOps has much more feature, and of course, GitHub is more is more coming with more features. So you can experiment with GitHub as well. Uh, those things can be definitely experimented, and probably we'll see that next demo maybe GitHub.
Yeah, Ashish, this was a very like, awesome session, and I believe our audience would like to go and would like to speak to their teams uh, to bring the DevOps culture and how this whole uh,
Right.
thing works.
Right.
So
Yeah. So we see few questions. So Manish wants to know any tips for person who is totally new to DevOps. Uh, Tips are not exactly tips, but I mean the one thing is that for DevOps you need to have certain things, and that entirely based on where exactly you are working. So DevOps is not a technology that you can generalize for different all the teams. So if you are working with a team which is comprehensively using Azure DevOps, then of course Azure DevOps becomes a thing to learn. If the if the team is using GitHub, then of course the GitHub is become the primary tool. So from the technology or from the tool side, of course you need to focus on the tools that are being used in the team. The second thing I would like to focus is that you need to have the basic fundamentals clear, like how do you make sure that repeatable changes can be deployed. and whatever it takes, like whatever tools you can use, whatever scripting you can use to make that happen, those things are need to be, I think you need to be aware the basic fundamental basic habits of a DevOps. How do you implement continuous deployment for a particular stack? It's not necessary that you do this for Data Factory, or you do this for .NET, or you do this for Java, then you become a DevOps engineer. It's entirely based on the platform your team is using. That has to be automated, and that has to bring the DevOps culture here. So that's what we call DevOps culture. That means not exactly the tool, but the culture of code review, the culture of continuous deployment, the culture of the continuous flow of artifact from one stage to another. That kind of thing you need to have understanding of. The next question is GitHub same as Azure DevOps in terms of simple design execution? Yes. um, I mean, GitHub is definitely making a lot of changes. As you guys are aware that Microsoft has acquired GitHub, and then they are focusing a lot on GitHub. So GitHub is coming up with really nice features these days, and those features are making it very much handy for enterprise customer as well. So GitHub has always been a popular choice for open source community, but now with the new features, with the new pipeline action and all those stuff, it is becoming a choice for enterprise applications as well, which has been mostly taken care by Azure DevOps in past. Nowadays these two things are competing with each other a lot, and of course they are coming from the same vendor, that is Microsoft. That creates a little bit of confusion as well, but both of these tools are equally good in terms of features, in terms of execution. It's all about your requirement, what exactly you need, and if it is possible easily in one platform or another, and how your team is going to take care of it. So that is the most important aspect. The next question is data pipeline similar to Azure DevOps pipeline? So in terms of logic, if you see, it's similar. So pipeline means a flow, right? A step, a flow of step which supposed to happen, which supposed to be automated, and that's what you call pipeline in any tool. We are talking about Azure DevOps, we are talking about ADF, but you go to any tool, when you refer to pipeline, that means essentially set of things and you want to execute. uh, the way they differ is in Azure Data Factory or data pipeline, in any other tool as well, like Databricks or something. It actually focuses on the data part of it, like orchestrating the data movement, data manipulation, data transformation. However, in Azure DevOps pipeline we focus on deployment or building things, so we don't really do some transformation in Azure pipeline. So we combine these two things and make possible what is possible using data pipeline. So doing all the data specific step, data specific script execution, doing some transformation, connecting with some service, getting some data, transforming it, publishing it to a data source. Those things are good in data pipeline. And the moment you want to make that orchestration happen, you pick that particular data, or you pick that pipeline, start that, or you want to deploy it to some other target environment, Azure DevOps pipeline is the thing to consider. Next question is, what about the output artifact like RPM, Tarball, and other packages? Yeah, it's there. I mean, artifacts again. It's all about your platform. So the moment you take platform, so in our case, the artifacts are JSON files, right? In our case, it's all JSON file that is getting generated based on Data Factory currently. But based on the platform you are talking about, if it is a NuGet package, it is a Java application, then jar. If it is a .NET application, then it may be a DLL, it may be a MSI file, it can be exe. So those artifacts can be generated, and based on that, those artifacts you want to further use some package management software as well. Here we are not using any package management software in our use case, because it's just a kind of introduction right now. But you can further use Azure Artifact or J4 Artifactory to place that artifact, and then further CD from there, not exactly CD from the repo or from the artifact or from the pipeline. Can we get these different artifacts from single pipeline? Can we get this different artifact to the single pipeline? Depends. If you are building all of them in a package, and then end of the pipeline, end of the CI pipeline, you are publishing it as a zip file, then you are getting it everything at once. But you can't really publish separate separate artifact in the same pipeline. But you can either publish it collectively in a zip file, and then you can further take it from there, and then say segregate it in your cd, and then take individual files, and then you can deploy it. Or what you can do is, from your ci, instead of collecting it in a zip file, you, as soon as you get an artifact based on your build, you publish it to a external artifact system like jfrog or something, so that an end of the pipeline will have this all the things separated in a particular package management software, and that's how you can manage that. But yes, it's a kind of a pattern which I have not seen, at least. And I would say separate application, separate pipeline, at least ci is a better pattern, I would say. But again, based on use case, if that's what you need, we have to look at how do we make it possible. Do we have all plugins available in Azure DevOps for data engineering stuff? So data engineering is relatively new thing. I mean, at least if you want to do with Data Factory, if you want to do with other, for the current demo that we have done, it is definitely based on the current plugin that we have for Azure Resource Manager template. But again, it is based on the need that you have, the kind of pipeline that you are doing, and the kind of the task that you want to achieve. But if nothing is there, you still have the script plugin, the script extension that can run a PowerShell or a shell script that can automate things for you if the inbuilt plugin is not there, or by some third party, or by some individual. But be sure that when you are using a marketplace plugin, and if you're working in an enterprise company, if it is released by Microsoft, most probably your security team will white flag it. But if it is coming from an individual or a third party company, and that has to be taken care, because it's a public marketplace, nobody controls that. uh, when I deploy ADF, I would ideally deploy the SQL table views SPs first. Would you show that as well? So we, yeah, I mean, that is what we kind of started with. That what what infrastructure team does in general. These are the things infrastructure team, and we did not cover that practical, because our objective was not that. But yes, in future we may want to cover this aspect. We have covered a couple of sessions using ARM template and Terraform, so we can cover this aspect, how to create these ADF, storage account, SQL server, all these things using Git, Azure pipelines in automated fashion. This time our agenda was to focus on this second aspect, that is majorly towards these guys. So but yes, we can, what you're asking is this aspect, this can be covered using ARM template or Terraform. We will try to see how we can make that happen. Of course, I will take a note and we'll see that. That's a nice ask for next session. um Thank you so much. I hope you all like it. And Rohit, I mean, can we conclude?
Yes, thank you so much, Ashish, for this wonderful session.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We are already top of hour. So thank you so much for joining us. And connect with me if you want to have any other question. And you can post there in the comment as well. I will try to have a look on this comment later as well. We'll be posting the PDF, I mean the slides, on a public location, and then I will share that link, and Rohit will make it available to the community. Okay.
Sure, sure,
Yep.
Ashish.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. Have a good night. Take care.
Thank you so much, Ashish, and thank you all for joining us today for this session. And we hope that you will be joining us for the upcoming sessions as well. So, thank you all and have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.